So my presentation is on Satanism. And the specific question is Satanism harmful or beneficial to the people that practice it? First, I will begin with the side that Satanism is harmful. So this is the visual image that I used. This was Satan or Lucifer in the 1500s. As you can see, he was big, furry, with big claws, gigantic wings and horns, and he was very scary looking. You probably can't see well, but he has two other faces, and they're eating small people. So this is basically what people saw Satan to be, someone that's very harmful, trying to kill people, trying to hurt them, very big and scary, and that's just always what Satan was believed to look like. So in terms of history, Satan and Satanists have been the ones behind satanic ritual abuse, child sex abuse, crimes such as murder and rape, and the Black Mass, which was like the Christian Mass but put on by Satanists to go against them, and there were bloody rituals that went along with it. There have also been a lot of satanic bans over the past decades where they wanted to sacrifice animals on stage, and that made a lot of people, including some of their own fans, very uncomfortable, and there have been lawsuits against that. So in terms of history, Satanists have always been seen to be bad people doing bad things, and these are some newspaper clippings of some things, like I skinned my baby for Satan, and other things. And for people that believe in witches and witchcraft, Satan was also believed to be the one that raped witches, in exchange for favors. There is a gang by the name of MS-13, and they're a violent street gang, and their founders worship the devil. And they have a long history of Satanism, so they use satanic nicknames, tattoos, gang symbols, a bunch of other things. And they committed their crimes because of the beast, or Satan. And their crimes are very gruesome. One of their more recent ones included murdering someone, and they stabbed that person several times and took out their heart and threw it in a grave. And they did that because of Satan. And Del Cid, which is one of the members of MS-13, says that the devil helps them and sometimes asks for favors. So with gangs such as MS-13 with a satanic reputation, it makes them out to be much more scarier, much more evil, because all they do is commit these types of crimes, and it scares people, and they do it more for the mysterious aspect, and they really like to emphasize that they're satanic and like to do those types of things. In terms of religion, Satanism is a sign of rebellion and hatred against religion. That's what a lot of people say. Because for the people that believe in God, Satan has always been the enemy. So in the real world on earth, Satanists are the enemies of, people that are religious and believe in God. And since Satan has always been a harmful character that does evil things, just not seen as a good thing. A lot of people say that Satanists are out to troll people and create unnecessary controversy. In the next few slides, I'm going to talk about modern Satanism, where they don't worship the devil, they believe in themselves. And that's also another reason people will say Satanists are out to troll people. They'll say it's not a real religion, or that, for the devil worshipping part, it can be very harmful, and they're out to hurt people. They may use that as an excuse to kill people and do bad things. Or it can be just, not a real religion, and they're just trolling people to say that, God isn't real, and they're hating on other religions. So now I'll talk about why Satanism is beneficial. So, again, like I said, now modern day Satanism, they don't actually worship the devil, and Satanists don't believe in an actual Satan, because it's more of the supernatural, and they're trying to disconnect themselves from the supernatural. So Satan is more of a metaphorical icon for enlightenment values, for humanistic values, and Satan is more a symbol of pride more than anything. And they preach scientific evolution of humankind. So it's also not just a religious aspect, but a scientific aspect as well. So they're trying to motivate themselves to do good things because they don't believe in any gods. That's Nontheistic Satanism. So instead they believe in themselves. They're their own god. and Satan is just like the symbol for that, but they don't believe in an actual Satan. So there are 7 tenets of Satanism that has been created by the Satanic Temple. I'm not going to read all of them, but there's a couple that I found to be very interesting. So the first one is one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. So this shows they're not out to harm people. That's not their intention. Their intention is to be nice to people and to show compassion. Another one is people are fallible. If we make a mistake, we should do our best to rectify it and resolve any harm that may have been caused. Again, there is no harm. They know that people make mistakes. Again, Enlightenment values, so they're just trying to focus on themselves and have self-awareness. And another one, one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. And this relates to the video I'm about to show. So the video I'm going to show is Lucien Greaves. He's the founder and spokesman for the Satanic Temple. And in this part of the video, he's going to talk about how they do their rituals and religion, because they're not like bloody sacrificing rituals, they're like just protests.
You'll see a lot of the things the Satanic Temple does, a lot of the protest actions by some of our chapters are put into a ritualistic format, and they're done publicly, and I think that's another point where people look at that and say that's not authentic religious expression, because it's clearly done in protest. So like when we do things, counter-protesting protesters at Planned Parenthood and those types of things, and you can see videos on YouTube where we've done these kinds of ritualized counter-protests or protests, depending on whatever the scenario is. I think that's very much what ritual is and what ritual should do, especially if you're not invoking ritual for superstitious purposes. You don't think you are channeling your will to make something happen without actually engaging with the real world on any tangible level. But when you are doing a kind of ritualized protest and you are provoking certain reactions, making people think differently, or you're able to express your discontent in a rather kind of theatrical way, I think that does fulfill the requirements of ritual. And it's far more profound for people engaged in it than simply holding a sign or even maybe writing a letter, although those things are fine too.
So yeah, that was just talking about the ritual, and that was like at a Planned Parenthood protest. They're pro-abortion, pro-choice, so they were just trying to show that. And the woman with milk being spilled all over her and her hands cuffed, that was just kind of showing what forced motherhood is like. So they like to go out of the way and do protests that people will remember. So, religion. Pope Paul VI said something that I really like. It is all a mysterious realm thrown into confusion by an unhappy drama about which we know very little. So I think that's a cool quote. And Satanism is a very serious religion. It's not a troll group. And recently, chapters of the Satanic Temple have been trying to propose after-school Satan clubs where they talk about Satanism with kids. And they propose this in a lot of states, and a lot of states have rejected it, but they're still looking into it. So Lilith Starr, Harvard graduate and founder of the Satanic Temple of Seattle, said, "We believe strongly in religious plurality and we fight for equal representation for all religions. And we take action to ensure that more than one religious voice is represented." So even though Satanists don't believe in a god, they believe in themselves, and that's still a set of beliefs. So it's important to just keep that in mind, that they are a real religion. And just because they don't believe in God doesn't mean they're trying to bash on the people that do believe in God. They're just trying to do their own thing and show that they are a separate religion with their own beliefs. So, my claim, I think that Satanism is beneficial to the people that practice it. They focus on individual sovereignty and self-awareness, so they're doing this for themselves, not to injure anyone. No harm towards themselves or others, and I think that's very important. As long as they're not trying to hurt anyone or express any hate, then, that's a good thing. and there's no hatred or evil expressed, and they express their views in a unique way, which I also find very cool. So devil worshipping is different from Satanism by itself as a religion, and even though Satanism a long time ago was seen as a very bad thing because they did commit very bad crimes, it's not like that anymore. And I think the most logical solution is to just educate people about Satanism, whether it's in schools or religious platforms or from Satanists themselves. It's good to just educate those people, and people should listen and learn before making any assumptions. And then from there they can decide whether or not they agree with Satanism, because they need to know at least what it is. And if they don't like Satanism after that, then that's okay. But people should at least be educated and know like what their objectives are, what their fundamentals are, and what they're actually trying to do as a religion. These are my works cited. Yeah.